Yeah. All right. So we are like, what? How many days are we until our live event? I mean, we're getting close. I think it's what,
15, I think. 15 maybe? What is it?
15 days? It's
Yeah.
about 2 weeks, I
Yeah.
guess. So it's coming down. I've been working really hard at all the music. Well, that's like I'm having the time of my life with it. So I hope everybody's going to enjoy it as much as I am. I have
Well,
something for everybody in there. So
good. Excellent.
and Carrie,
Hey,
you're like, master of the whole plan. So how are you
I know, I
doing?
feel like I've got like little things going, puppeteer in the background, making it all happen. So, no, it's going to be amazing. Just putting everything together and all the logistics of it, and seeing all the fun between the vendors that are sponsors that are going to be there, and just the list of attendees as they've registered, as well as all the fantastic speakers, and $70,000 worth of prizes.
I mean,
I got
that's
the final
amazing.
list. I know. I got the final list, and I'm like, holy cow. We're
Well,
giving
I was
away,
looking at, oh, sorry, go on.
I was just saying, we're giving away 8 business valuations with Taya from PetVet. We're giving away 4 iPads. We've got Blue Nine Climbs and Propel platforms, and like 2 big grooming gift certificates from Paragon Grooming. And I mean, yeah, it's just amazing, the dollar value that we're seeing in these prizes. So super excited to give it away.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we have enough breaks. I mean, we might need to build in more breaks sessions to give out prizes because we have so many prizes. So,
Well,
but
show up and you will win.
yes, good chance you're going to walk away with something.
Thanks.
All right, well,
Something big.
yep. Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to the Dog Gurus Live. And I'm joined today with the fabulous Carrie Campbell. And I'm Shantae Marquez, and we are part of a wonderful team at the Dog Gurus. And the Dog Gurus help pet care businesses launch, grow, and profit. So if you're a startup and you want guidance with facility design, or hiring your staff, or implementing a safe and solid dog evaluation system, we can help you with that. We have a program called Launch. It's wonderful. It helps a lot of startup companies. If you're an existing pet care business, we can definitely help you operate more efficiently, reduce staff turnover, and increase your profit margins. I mean, that really is our specialty. And of course, we also offer the #1 pet care staff training system for canine body language and positive reinforcement, dog handling, and management skills. So we were just talking about the Business Breakthrough Workshop that's in about 15 days away that it's going to start. So we hope that we're going to see you there. If you are coming and you watch our lives, make sure to come and say hi to Carrie and I. We would love to meet you in person. We love talking to everybody. It's just a lot of fun for us. All right. So today it is job hiring season, isn't it? I mean, look, if you already haven't done spring break, you're about to just get started with spring break. So it's hiring season. This is the time when we're really preparing our businesses for the start of the rush of where every month it's going to get busier and busier because travel season has gone into full swing. So we thought it would be a wonderful idea to talk about how to write a fantastic job description that really attracts not just people who want a job. No, we want to attract the people that want to work in the pet care industry, that are like career-minded employees.
Absolutely.
So I broke it down into 4 steps. So I'll list off the steps and then we'll really dig into each step. Okay. So the first step is you need to identify your ideal client. So think about what you want in that candidate. Secondly, you got to break down your job description into 4 parts and then showcase your culture and do an A/B testing of that job description. I recommend that. So let's talk about identifying your ideal client. You really want to think about the skills, experience, personalities, and goals that match your role. And if you're hiring for a manager, I say forget the technical skills, hire for soft skills, right? I mean, I think that's really important. I think people get confused. Like they want to hire people that know how to handle dogs. You can teach that to them. You need to hire people that have the right mindset. Would you agree, Carrie?
Absolutely. Yep. If you find somebody who has managerial experience or supervisory experience, take them. You can teach them the dog handling side, but teaching those management, time management, as well as people management skills can sometimes be more difficult.
Mhm. Yeah. So when you're thinking about that ideal client or candidate, you want to think about what kind of personality are you looking for? What attributes and characteristics of that personality are you really looking for? Write that stuff down, because when you start looking through all of the entries for the job applicants and interviewing people, if you have that in front of you, you're going to think about that, and that will be at the forefront of your mind when you're looking at all those things. The other suggestion I would say is, when you are going to write your job description, make sure that you use keywords in it that people are actually going to be searching for. Okay, that's really important for SEO. So, make sure it's like, okay, if it's a pet attendant or something, what are the most common words in your area that people use to describe that job role? And make sure you use those specific words. Do you have anything else to add for that, for the job description, the ideal candidate?
No, I think you covered everything. Yeah, I'm not thinking of anything else off the top of my head.
Okay. And then now that you have that in your mindset, your ideal candidate, now you can really start working at building that job description. And there's 4 parts to that. So, first part is really summarizing the role at the top. The second part is going to be listing the key responsibilities. So you want to outline main tasks and objectives. And then the next part would be required and preferred skills and experience. And then the last part would be where you actually close it out and you invite the candidate to apply and give your contact information. And I know you use Applicant Pro, so there was a lot of extra features that you could use when you ask them to apply and different things. Can you talk about that? Because I think Indeed does a lot of the similar stuff, but I know you have a lot of experience with that, Carrie.
Now, Applicant Pro gives you a lot of features to select whether you want them to submit a video, or if there is some sort of losing the word, not like exam, but little tests that they take that's going to assess their skills. So that may be something that is going to, assess typing skills versus verbal skills. There's just so many different things that you can choose from that can be industry specific and also just individual specific. So if you're looking, like you were talking about, for that ideal candidate, if you have kind of a personality trait that you're seeing that you're looking for, you can have them take a personality assessment. So there's just a lot of different things to help filter those applicants before they even get to your inbox. So you can make some optional and some mandatory, and that just helps filter that too. So that by the time the candidates get to your inbox that you're looking at, these are the people who have really kind of met this minimum or even above minimum criteria that you're looking for, so that you don't have to do the filtering through all of the applicants individually. And I think that, as a hiring supervisor or manager, that just makes that role easier on them, because they're able to kind of get more of the cream of the crop based on what your advertisement or the job description has been.
Yeah, I my facility was in a densely populated area, so we'd use Indeed, and Indeed was really great because we could either post the job for free or we could pay to have it boosted. But even with the free option, you can still set those parameters like Carrie was talking about. So one of the parameters for us, because I was in the LA area, is that they needed to live within 15 miles, because if they lived farther than that, traffic was just crazy. So, so that was one of the things. The other thing is, you, like Carrie was saying, you could have those skills assessment tests, but we could also have them do a phone interview. So when I was hiring my front desk people, I wanted to hear how they presented themselves on the phone. I mean, that was the first point of contact with a lot of customers. So I wanted to hear their speaking voice. I wanted to hear if they were long-winded. So I would have a couple questions that they would answer, and I would just simply see their tone of voice. Did they have a lot of energy, or were they really monotone? Things like that. And then you can also, a lot of the new job applicant websites, you can actually ask for the candidates to submit a video. And that's really cool too, because number one, if the candidate actually goes through all those steps and makes the effort to do the phone interview, take the skills assessment, or shoot a video, then they actually really want the job. I mean, they're not just looking for any old job or going through the motions. So I have a couple clients that use the video and they really, really like it. And it really tells a story about the candidate before they even take the time to do that phone interview.
Something else about that we noticed on Applicant Pro is that we had specific criteria we wanted to hit making that video. One of them was also a time target. So it wasn't like they were just going to make a 5-minute video that went rambling on and on. We wanted them to answer specific questions, but we wanted to see that they could do it following the instructions of, 2 minutes or less, or, whatever we put on there as far as the criteria. And that, like you said, those that are going to go through and take that extra step, but then follow the instructions correctly, those are the people that really want the job and that are really trying to put their best foot forward. And those are the ones that you want to be able to interview.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, the next step, we can talk a little bit more about that, is showcase your company culture. And I think this is really important. Several years ago, employers more had the upper hand with hiring, and there was a ton of people. It was different. Okay. Now we really have to sell our businesses to these employees so they want to work for you, because there's a lot of competition out there with a lot of job openings. So you need to make your business and the job look attractive. But Carrie, I know you have a great video that you would use for your company culture when you're trying to hire somebody. Do you want to share that? Do you have it ready? Well, if you don't, I keep talking.
Oh no, wait, here we go.
Yeah, but you really want to, when you're talking about your company culture in that section of the job description, you want to talk about your core mission and values. That's huge. You really want to hire somebody that reflects your values. If they don't, you guys are not going to get along, and they're not gonna fit with your company. You also want to highlight the perks and benefits, and include photos. Indeed offers that, where you can actually post photos. So like for my business, I would post photos of when we had staff parties and everybody was hanging out and having a good time, and photos of the events that we would put on, our parties for the pets that we'd put on. We just, we wanted to make it look like a fun environment. Okay, yeah. It looks like you have the video ready. Super cute. I mean, definitely looks like an attractive place to go work. So yeah, that's great. Another thing that you could do, like we had a lot of interns that we worked with, and one of our interns, we took a picture of him with a dog, and he loved working with us. And we just took a little quote from him of saying why he loved working with us, for the fun that he would have and the type of company we were. But you could add those things into your company profile on your listing with any one of those companies. So I really highly encourage you to do that. It just makes you stand out when they're going through all those different business listings to see where they want to work.
I know with Applicant Pro, we could upload a video like that to our Applicant Pro account. We also had a page on our website that had that video and a, click here to apply button. So it was something that just kind of, the more places that we could feature that video, we had it pinned on our Facebook page for a while when we were really trying to hire, for a busier season. So the more places that you can show that and really show kind of the fun that you have, as well as the seriousness of working with animals, I think the more attractive it is and the more places you're going to catch the eye of those that are applying for a job in the pet care industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then the last thing that I would really suggest is A/B test your job descriptions. So if you have one that you've been using and you create this new one with some of these tips that we're talking about, try testing both of them and seeing which one gets more hits. Or you could even play around with the title of the job and see how that attracts people in a different way. I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting like two to three different versions of the job application, kind of tweaking it here and there and seeing what works best. I mean, that's really good data for you to make decisions on.
Agreed. Are there any questions out there from us? I know we've got some people dropping in the chat saying hi. Just trying to see out if there's any questions that we can answer for you all.
Yeah, and the other thing that I was going to mention to people, if there's any subjects that you want us to talk about, any topics, email us or write it in the chat what you would love us to mention or talk about, then we'd be happy to do it as well. But I guess we can move on and talk about a little bit about the hiring process. I wasn't going to dig too deep into it because I think the job description is pretty important. That's really the first step in the hiring process. But the next step after that would be really having that phone interview, that live phone interview with them. And then if things seem to go well, and I would just make that phone interview, look, 5 to 10 minutes. You don't want it to be very long. You just want to get a sense of who they are and if they are interested, what type of like schedule they're looking for, how many hours they can work, things like that. If they all pass those parameters, then you can move on to the next step of scheduling that interview, because it takes a lot of your time to schedule interviews. And if people don't show up, it's really a bummer.
And I know that has been a thing. That whole ghosting thing has been more real the last year or so, but yeah, making sure that you get that commitment and have them come in. I also recommend when you do that first interview that if there's a second half of it, if you will, you meet or your manager meets with them individually, and then have somebody else on your team, a lead, a supervisor, go and walk them through the facility and get the opinion of that other employee of yours to see if they feel that they would be a good fit. Sometimes a candidate will be more open with somebody that's more of a peer in their eyes than with, the owner or manager or supervisor of the facility.
Yeah, if we liked the candidate and they got through myself and the manager or my like first, interview with them, I would definitely hand them off to one of the managers or another peer and have them give a tour to that candidate so they can go through and take a look. And that was really helpful because, as you were saying, sometimes they're really shy with one of us, but they'll ask questions, to an employee and find out a little bit more information. That was definitely helpful. And also giving them a tour of the place just really gives them an eye opener. Okay, this is what the environment's going to be like. I mean, might have to pick up some poop, I mean, that's a reality. It's not just cuddling dogs all day.
I used to always tell people that, there's crap in every job, right? Ours is literal, and you can pick it up and throw it away, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Deal with this virtual issue that's going on all the time with people in your employment situation. So, yeah. But it is true. We do have a lot of poop in this industry. So.
Exactly. And I would also say that come prepared when you're interviewing somebody. Have a standard list of questions that you utilize to ask. And you want to keep those questions, some core questions, the same for each person that you're interviewing, because you can compare their answers to one another. If you're just really loose and just have an open conversation with every person, I think you might be missing opportunities to really dig in and find some specific information that's really targeted for that particular role in your business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think was it? I guess a couple weeks ago, if you scroll through our Facebook page, we actually had a freebie where you can download a list of interview questions for the pet care counselor role in your business. So look for that if you want to see our suggestions. And I think, how many questions were on there, Carrie?
It was quite a few. There was probably at least 25, 30 questions.
Yeah, and we wouldn't suggest you want to ask them everything, but you could pick out a few of those. I mean, really, an interview should be 30 minutes to an hour on that first interview. And really, the first interview is just finding out about their personality. And then you can move on to a second interview, which could be like a working interview, where you can find out a little bit more about their skills. And I know people probably thinking, I don't have time for that. I need to just hire somebody. But when you do that, that's when you hire people that don't last, and you don't hire the right fit for your business. And so I really just highly recommend that you take the time and don't veer from the process that you create, because you created it for a reason. And it's really important to just take your time and make sure that this person's going to work out.
I'm putting that in the chat. Is the link for that employee interview questions download.
Awesome. Yeah. And look, many times I was in a position where it was busy, like a spring break time or something, and somebody doesn't show up, or they, leave us, and, you're like, oh my gosh. And you just really want to like panic and just hire the first body you see that walks through the door. But every time I did that, it never worked out. Those people never stayed. So, when I started to create the system and really follow through and put everybody through the same steps, that's when I had people that stayed for a long time. And I was just actually looking at my business Facebook page, because, I sold my business a couple of years ago, and I'm like looking at some of the staff pictures, and I'm like, oh, those people are still there. So that made me feel really good and proud. Around.
Picked a good buyer.
Yeah, exactly. Picked a good buyer. Any other tips for hiring season right now that you want to mention, Carrie?
I would just say that, sometimes we are all going after the same quality candidate. So making sure that you're doing something that really highlights how your business is different from the other facilities in your area. And again, like you were saying, Shantae, that when you have somebody there at your facility and they've done that kind of first phase of a live interview, is go ahead and show them something that really does make your business from the, behind the scenes different, and that, would be more enticing for them to come to work for you. Because I think that's where we can set ourselves apart. It's not always about the compensation, but it may have more to do with the employees actually feeling safe. That was one interview question that they would ask us a lot, because there were other facilities in my area that had maybe a more, loose policy on safety. And so, when they would ask questions about, well, what am I going to get as far as, backup if something happens, or what kind of training am I going to get? And when you can tell them all those things, it's going to set them up for success, as well as set yourself up for safety and success. It makes a good kind of marriage between the employee and the business.
Absolutely. I think that is a common question that we would receive when they've worked at another facility, because they kind of know what to expect, and safety is a huge issue. Exactly. And I think going back and just sharing your mission and core values along with that is huge, because I think it shows who you are, and it shows, your integrity of the business and really why you built the business. I would also tell them the story about me, and people appreciated that. They want to know why I even started the business or how I became about that. So it just kind of gave them a full picture and just more of a personal connection with me rather than just as a boss.
If you are an owner that is not doing the day-to-day hiring anymore, if you know that your, general manager, supervisor, whoever is in charge of doing that hiring for you, if you know that they have an interview or two set up on a certain day, make sure you're there, because at least they can have the opportunity to meet you and know that the owner is still kind of active in the business or has some role that they're still there and they're not completely absentee. I mean, not that there isn't anything wrong with that as well, but just kind of if you're there on the property, go ahead and take that moment to introduce yourself, because it just shows a little personalized touch to that interview process for the employee or the candidate, I should say.
Absolutely. That's a great suggestion. Because that is important to them. And we want to, when I did step back away and really let my GM and my managers of the departments handle the hiring process, it is important when they got through the first round of the interview into the second one, then I would for sure, either if I couldn't be there in person, Zoom works too. Or at least try to be there on the first day that they start, just to stop by and say hi. That's important.
Even if, 99.9% of people who are going to put a phone number down on an application, it's going to be a cell phone. So they're more than likely able to get a text. And even if it's just a text from you or a little short text video that you can send, just saying, hey, I know you met with Michelle the other day. She was really impressed. I just wanted to introduce myself and let you know a little bit about me and why I started my business. And, even something like that, it's just a small personal touch that will go a long way with the candidate. If they have applied at 3 different places and they have to make a choice, why not make something that's a little more personalized that will make them choose you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a thunderstorm rolling in. My dogs were barking. I don't know if you could hear them a couple minutes ago. Yeah, it was just rattling the windows, and so
Oh my gosh.
I locked the door so they can't come in during this. But they help. I know.
Well, that's real life for the dog gurus, right? We all have dogs, so
Exactly.
they're bound to not always be quiet when we are doing a Facebook Live. So,
all right. Well, hopefully we will see you guys at the live event. What else will I tell you? I'll tell you about our Facebook group called Grow Your Pet Care Business. It's on Facebook. We just have 2 rules, and that's be nice and no selling. So I don't have the link in the chat. Let me see if I do, actually. One of the old.
I'm going to post the link for the tickets for the live event if they still want to attend, because we do have some tickets that are still available. And do you have the?
Yeah, let me pull up the link for Grow Your Pet Care Business right now, and I'll put that in. All right. It's a great place to just get advice, and just if you need, if you just want to bounce an idea off other people who are in your shoes, that's a great place to do it. There's a lot of support there. So check it out. And sometimes there's some fun stuff that people post on there that just make you smile and laugh. So
I was always impressed with, just, people doing a photo shoot for, either like Valentine's Day or, like a monthly party that they were doing. I used to get some great ideas off of there from other people sharing information. But I think one of the things that not only do you get from that Facebook group, but also from coming to like our live event is that that feeling that you're not alone. Because so often, if you are in an area and you have competition, you're not reaching out to your competitors to commiserate about staffing issues or, if anything, we're kind of trying to, keep our facility and how things are run kind of tight to the chest. So we're not being real open with others in our area. So being able to come to a live event where you can network with people, or being in a community like the Grow Your Pet Care Business Facebook group, it just gives you that kind of network to make you feel not alone. And I think that's really important, because we are kind of isolated in this industry a little bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, everybody, have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.